Hi guys, this is Mike and this will be a shootout between 12 different phaser pedals. Before we start, here are a couple of things you need to know. Number one, I made reviews to each and every one of these pedals already. So if you are interested in one of them specifically, you can check out that video. Today is more about how they compare to each other. Number two is, this video will be mono only. I realize we do have 3 stereo pedals here, but I already made a video with those 3 showing how they sound in stereo, so there's no point in repeating that. Number 3, I will give you the info of each sample beforehand like this. You know, which guitar I use, which pickups, if there is an overdrive or another effect, and also info on the settings of the phaser. Now, these are only valid on the phasers that let me actually change the sound. Something like the MXR Phase 90 only has one control, that is for the rate, so of course I won't be able to do much there. And the last point is, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. You know, videos like this one are a lot of work and take up a lot of time, so please show your support by subscribing. And that's basically that. Now we will listen to a couple of samples recorded with different guitars and different settings on these pedals. And after that I will give you my opinion on each and every one of them. So, enjoy. Okay guys, welcome back. I hope you liked the couple of samples I provided. I tried to give you a little bit of everything here, you know, humbucker guitar, single coil guitar, with effects, without. And so, you know, I hope now you have a good picture of what these pedals can do. And now's the time to give you my opinion on them. But before we do that, here's one last reminder to please subscribe and hit the notification bell. You know, this video especially took a lot of time to shoot, and I reckon it will also take a long time to edit. And yeah, show your support, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also leave a like. And there's a fly in the picture. I hope you don't mind. There's really nothing I can do now about that. But yeah, let me actually start my opinion, the opinion part of this video, with the bottom right corner. So we'll start here and work our way up, right? So the tone City Summer Orange, don't like it, have to say, have to be honest. It totally changes your clean guitar sound, your dry guitar sound. I mean, I can actually see that, especially because it's the cheapest pedal of this whole lot. I can see that maybe you want a special effect on stage. Maybe you want a totally broken guitar sound with a lot of feedback and noise there, because this thing actually sounds as if there's oscillation going on or an overdrive or something, a very bad sounding overdrive. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it has a sound. I'm not going to deny that, but if you like the sound or not is up to you. I don't. I like my pedals to be a little bit more transparent, right? So I wouldn't recommend this pedal. The MXR Phase 95 is a great sounding pedal, I feel. It's a little bit, tiny little bit noisy when you engage it. I do like that it's true bypass, that it's small, that it's affordable, that it actually has 4 sounds here. So we have the Phase 90 sound, Phase 90 sound script, and then we have the same on the Phase 45, right? So basically 4 sounds. The same is true for the MXR Eddie Van Halen, except that we don't have the Phase 45 sound. So these two pedals are very similar actually. Of course, this is a signature pedal, so it costs more and has these Eddie Van Halen stripes on there. But these two are pretty interesting because basically they deliver the same sound. You can hear that the Phase 95 is a little bit more modern sounding, meaning it boosts the volume a little bit and it boosts the highs, right? So if you want that, that's great. I feel that the Eddie Van Halen Phase 90 actually, I mean, it also boosts the highs and also boosts the volume, but nowhere near as much as the Phase 95. Right, so between these two, I have trouble deciding which one I would like to keep, you know. To be honest, these two are on par for me. They both sound great. Both are pretty versatile. And they just deliver this classic, really lush sounding Phase 90 sound. Speaking about the Phase 90, this is of course the classic Phase 90. And to be honest, I don't like this pedal because, you know, it totally destroys my guitar sound because it's so hot and it boosts the mid and the high so much. And yeah, it's pretty much, I realize why metal players like this pedal, because when they play a solo and they engage this thing, the solo jumps right in front of the audience, right? Because it's boosted. But personally, I would like to have a phaser that can do a nice clean sound as well. And I always feel it's a little bit too hot for my liking, right? So the opposite of what I said about the Phase 90 is true for the Phase 90 script, the custom shop one. This is almost too subtle for me. It's too soft. It's a little bit too unpronounced. Is that a word? You know what I mean. Actually, I like the script mod on both of these pedals here more than I like this one. Also, it's a little bit on the noisy side, and also it's the most expensive one of these ones here. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend both of these. I would recommend these two. Now, the Helix is interesting. I was not impressed by its stereo image in my stereo shootout that I did. And I also feel that, I mean, they give you a lot of controls. I like that. You have the possibility for a tone print. There's not a lot of tone prints available on the TC Electronic side or on the app. Actually, yes, I think it's 11 or something, so not a lot. No one's by like famous artists. And also I feel, I mean, they do give you a lot of controls, as I mentioned, but actually I feel it's kind of... it sounds a little bit digital. I'm sorry to say that. What I also don't like is that it, as soon as you engage it, even with the mix set to 0, it cuts your highs a little bit, right? Right? Mix set to 0 should be totally clean, 100% dry, and we still have a sound change. And I'm quite allergic when it comes to changing my clean guitar sound, right? Okay, so Catalinbread many worlds. I mean, to be honest, this pedal reminds me so much of the Boss PH3, which can do, you know, sound effects and all that Star Wars crap, but it can basically not do a standard, you know, basic sounding phaser sound. And even with the mix set to 0, this pedal distorts and, you know, steals a lot of highs, and I'm not a fan of this pedal. Yeah, so I would not recommend this pedal, except maybe you really plan to use this pedal for special effects. Hey, Mr. Fly is back. Okay, next is the Vahlbruch 654. Now, this is a difficult one because actually I do like what it does to my clean guitar sound. I have the feeling it does cut the highs a little bit, but it's actually a very lush sounding and very warm sounding phaser, and I like that. I also like that we have a volume control for your whole signal, so the dry guitar and the clean guitar. So if you want to boost your signal, you can do that, but if you want to stay the same, you can also do that. My issue with this pedal is, for how expensive this pedal is, I actually feel there's not a lot of phasing going on, even when the intensity is all the way up and we have the 6-stage phasing engaged. It's actually pretty subtle, right? It's actually pretty subtle. It's a little bit like this one. Yeah, so, you know, it hurts me to say, but I'm going to send this one back. Although it's, you know, pretty solid, it's a nice, really lush sound, warm sound, and I like the basic sound, but it's just a little, it's not enough phaser for me, basically, right? Okay, now the Fender Waylon Jennings, I guess it's called. Yeah, sorry, I don't get that phaser. It boosts the volume the most out of all of these pedals here. You know, the range and the feedback, when you set them too high, you could, I feel, kill someone with the sound you get. The sweep control is a nice bonus feature, but it doesn't do much. And yeah, I'm not a fan of this pedal. And listen to the, let me actually turn everything to the minimum setting and just listen to the volume jump, basically. Right, so it's almost as bad as the MXR Phase 90. Now, the Horizont by KMA machines, I made, maybe you should watch my video on that pedal, and there I list everything that I feel is wrong with this pedal. Because, you know, I'm such a big fan of the Astrospurt, which we'll talk about in a minute, but, you know, this pedal is a downgrade in my opinion, right, in comparison to the Astrospurt. They added so many features, and they added, you know, an expression pedal input and an effects loop, and the emphasis switches are now readily available on the device itself. You don't have to screw it open like the Astrospurt. But I still feel, you know, the basic sound isn't there. It changes my guitar sound too much. It makes it really dull, right? So this all the way to the right is 100% dry, right? We should have no change in tone whatsoever. There's no phasing going on now. And listen to what it does. Right? So that's no good, and I don't like that, and I don't like this pedal. And you know, the stereo thing, watch my stereo phaser shootout video. The stereo thing is just ridiculous. It's just ping pong, which gets old pretty fast. And also they decided for some reason to also ping pong your clean guitar signal, your dry guitar signal, right? Instead of just ping ponging the phaser sound, right? Right. Which brings me to the Astrospurt, and boy, I like this pedal a lot, you know. It's a pretty nice, warm, lush sounding phaser just from the get-go. you know, but then we get the whole emphasis thing, and there's really so many cool things you can do with this pedal. It's this oscillation that you add, and you have a separate control for that, and I really like it. You know, watch my review of this pedal. At the end of that, I'll play a couple of things with a little bit of delay, and it's really awesome. It's not that expensive, it's true bypass, it's handmade. It also has a volume boost if you need that, or you can cut the volume a little bit, right? It is everything that I like. Having said that, what I don't like is that even, you know, when we're just talking about the basic phaser sound, set this all the way to the right, 100% depth, and the mix is perfectly 50-50, which is the loudest spot on this pedal. We still are not as deep as on something like the Phase 95, right? So you have to consider that, but it always sounds very tasty, very nice, and what I also like, it leaves your dry guitar sound pretty much untouched. I really like this pedal. This is definitely one of my favorites in the Shootout. Another one that is pretty good is the ZelZah by Strymon. I mean, there's really not to say about this pedal. It's very clean sounding. It doesn't boost your signal. It doesn't change your clean guitar sound. You know, we have two different stages of phasing. You can do in stereo, you can do great stuff. It's a really nice sounding pedal. It's a little bit expensive. I think it's actually the most expensive pedal in the Shootout. But it's a great sounding pedal. The only thing that I would criticize is that I have the feeling there's a volume drop actually going on when we play something with this pedal. And as you heard, you can almost do flanger sounds and do chorus sounds with this pedal as well. I don't know if there's maybe a live edit function here that boosts your signal. I guess there is, maybe. I haven't looked into that. But yeah, it's a great sounding phaser. No questions there. Very transparent, very clean. So, I mean, what are my favorite pedals? If I'm completely honest, my favorite pedals in the Shootout, number 5, I guess, would be the Vahlbruch, because it's very tasty sounding, very good sounding, although a little bit expensive and a little bit subtle. Then I really like the ZelZah as well. If I had room on my pedal board for another Strymon-sized pedal, I would definitely consider that. Then the Astrospurt, and I guess on place number 1 would be both of these MXR pedals, right? Because they deliver, you know, so much phasing sound, different flavors of phasing, and I just like this classic traditional MXR phase sound, right? The question between those two is pretty difficult for me to answer. I'm still not entirely sure what I'm going to do. This is my pedal, by the way, that I had for a couple of years, but I always felt it boosts the treble too much. It's too sharp. My guitar gets too trebly, basically. While I have a better feeling on this one, but still, I kind of like the Phase 45 mode on this one as well, right? So it's pretty difficult. I think, you know what I think I'll do? I'm definitely going to keep the Astrospurt just for the effect sounds that this pedal is able to produce, which I really like. Not so much for just a basic phaser sound, but you know, the whole oscillation thing with the emphasis, I really like that. And I'm also going to stick with my Phase 95 when I need a standard phaser sound, right? So that's my plan basically, but I'm still going to miss the Phase 90 Eddie Van Halen. It's a beautiful sounding pedal. Wait, let me just once more, let me try out something once more, okay? Yeah, I mean, it boosts the highs a lot, right? Yeah, well, this does not. So, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the Eddie Van Halen Phase 90 and the Phase 95 by MXR. Also, let me know what you thought of all the other pedals in the Shootout. What did you think about the Astrospurt? I would like to hear from you. Did one of these pedals surprise you in a positive sense or in a negative one? Leave a comment. I'll try to answer every questions that you have also. And yeah, I hope you liked this video. This was basically it. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye.
With 2 eyes.